Assalamualaikum and hi everyone, I'm Siti Noazmira binti Mazlan from Open University Malaysia Kota Baru. I'm currently studying in Bachelor of Nursing Science and my ID is 9303140357260001. Today, I would like to present to you about my speech on the dangers of smoking in informative speech. This presentation is dedicated to the public as to increase their awareness on the hazards and the effect of smoking. As you can see, these days smoking is quite a trendy among all generations, old, young, men, women, or teenagers. Young generations are much prefer to use vape as they say vapes has sort of many flavors for them to try on, and they have a very unique flavors to try on instead of cigarette. But there's some more people much prefer to use cigarette because cigarette is much more cheaper than using a vape. Besides that, cigarette also have the taste of tobacco that makes them feel they reach their satisfaction. I also did some research by asking some of my colleagues who are smoking, and I did ask them, why do you smoke? They say smoking makes them feel much calmer, relaxed, and they also said that smoking makes them feel energized after doing vigorous job, and they claim it that smoking makes them feel better, whereas smoking actually affecting them and people around us, including the environment. Why do I say that? This is because smoking is not only affecting to the smokers, it affected to the people around us and to the environment. According to World Health Organization, they say that smoking is the leading preventable cause of death, which kills 6 million of people around the world annually. And from these 6 million of people, there are 600,000 people are non-smokers who are exposed to the second-hand cigarette smokers. Little did I know, smokers' lifespan are 10 years shorter than to non-smokers. While in Malaysia, as I read in the National Health and Morbidity Survey, approximately 5 million Malaysians are smokers, which includes 4.85 million men and 143,000 are women. Honestly, it is quite a sad truth for me that there's quite a number of Malaysians are smokers. Although, there's a new recently statistic shows that declining of cigarette usage in Malaysia, but we still need to be aware that there might be a new technology that can replace cigarette, which might increase the number of smokers. Next, I would like to talk about what is inside this cigarette, or what is the ingredient inside this cigarette. I believe everyone knows, even the smoker themselves realize that cigarette contains many chemical substances that affect someone's health. This is including nicotine, tar, and any other substances, which including in carcinogen and metal. Moreover, people know that smoking is dangerous as in the packaging of the cigarette shows various images of medical problems such as lung cancer, oral cancer, gingivitis, and any other medical problems, but people are just ignores the packaging. In American Lung Association stated there are approximately 600 ingredients in cigarettes, and when these cigarettes are burned out, they will create 7,000 chemicals in one cigarette. At least 69 of these chemicals cause someone to have cancer and toxification. My first ingredient that I would like to talk about is nicotine. Nicotine is the harshest chemical substances that present in cigarette, which makes someone become addictive to smoke. There are some studies say nicotine helps someone to become more energetic, more concentration, improve their memory, reduce fear and anxiety. They also say nicotine is addictive as someone taking heroin. Therefore, it is hard for someone to quit smoking as they have become addictive to nicotine. For my second ingredient that I would like to talk about in cigarette is tar. Actually, tar is much dangerous when it's burned out because it can paralyze our cilia inside the lung. Cilia is help our lung and protect our lung by grab the microorganism to go through our lung and prevent it from infected. With all these chemical substances that present in the cigarette, it can change our normal range to abnormal. As example, carbon monoxide. When someone smokes, or maybe someone who are heavy smoker, usually their carbon monoxide will be increased. When carbon monoxide are increased in our body, it can damage our brain, our cell, which lead to death. Now, let's move on to the health effect of smoking to the smokers, secondhand cigarette smokers, and to the environment. Everybody knows that smoking causes cancer. There are various types of cancer that caused by smoking, but the majors are lung cancer, pharynx, larynx, and oral. Next is our heart. Heart is an important organ to make us alive. So when someone is smoked, they have a greater chance to get stroke and to experience sudden death. This is due to narrowing of the bloodstream, where the oxygen will be less transported to the cell, and the cell will get damaged that cause the organ is damaged and cause sudden death. Next is fertility. Smoking causes a common problem to fertility, whether to women or to men. Smoking affects women's fertility by makes her hard to get pregnant as it will disturb her hormone level. To the man, smoking makes a man become erectile and unhealthy sperm, which makes him infertile. Next is the risk of diabetes type 2. This is because when the smoke affects the pancreas will release much more glucose than insulin. Insulin will be less secreted due to presence of nicotine. So that's the reason why a person who has smoked have higher risk of diabetes type 2. Last but not least, smoking makes someone have weak immunity. So therefore, why smoking can cause many serious problems because at first it attacks our immunity. While in a second cigarette smokers, they also have almost the same effect as the smokers. In fact, the cigarette that left lighted without being puffed on is much more poisonous than the one that have been puffed on by the smokers, as the smoke that been puffed on by the smokers being filtered by the lung before it came out. Next, what the cigarette does to the second-hand cigarette smoker. As we can see that children are much more exposed to the second-hand cigarette smoker, and this is make them susceptible to get more serious lung problems such as asthma and other lung infections because they are breathing faster and they need more air than the adult as their airway is much smaller than the adult. There are several netizens, especially the father, thinks that they are safe to smoke outside the house without being aware that the smoke particle which invade in their clothes will bring the same effect to the household. And as I read in some journal, they said that turning on the aircon and turning on the fan will make the effect become much worse. Besides that, cigarette smoke affect children concentration and might change their behavior problem. Therefore, secondhand smoke actually affecting everyone, but children is much on higher risk. Next is fetus in the pregnant woman. The fetus unlikely will get deformed due to secondhand cigarette smoke. As in my experience as a student midwife back 3 years ago, I had been conducted a labor case where the father is heavily smoker and alcoholic. Even the mother also had been smoked because the husband asked to do so, and the baby turns out really well deformed, and it is quite sad to see it. And other than that, smoking also might increase the risk of congenital heart defects to the offspring. This is according to the study by the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology. As I was mentioned before, smoking does not only affect on human, but it also affects our environment. One of it is deforestation. The key ingredient to manufacture cigarette is by using tobacco, which contributed to a major deforestation. And as we know, tobacco plant is much more planted in the rainforest area, and we know that rainforest area is really important for our earth. And I believe there's some other places also will be affected due to deforestation for manufacturing of cigarette. Next is air pollution. Air pollution is obviously caused by the smokes, whether by the manufacturer or by the smokers. Manufacturers sometimes release huge volume of smoke during the process of manufacturing the cigarette, and the smoke that have been released are really hazardous and have chemical substances that affect people's soil and water. Therefore, that's the reason why Malaysia bans smoking in public area. Malaysia bans smoking in public areas since 1980 and forbidden selling of cigarette to below than 18 since 1994. Unfortunately, as we can see from our daily life, average Malaysian started smoke is at the age of 15. It is quite sad because these kids are our future leader. Recently, I read in the news that Selangor had been banned smoking at the park and at the playground. And Selangor is the first state that came up with this policy. To those who are failed to follow this policy, punishment will be taken by the organizations. And to me, this is a good innovation for our country to reduce the medical problems and to reduce the pollutions. Plus, we all know that Ministry Health Organization of our country is already contributed a program called Tak Nak Merokok, which help to give awareness to the citizens and to help to those who are in need to quit smoking. So with this, it might help less of smokers users and less the tobacco manufacturing. In my conclusion, smoking is a habit which an individual found it is difficult to quit, although they know smoking is not good for their health. But there are several people are now taking for months to get rid of smoking. And there's some number of people also are making effort to stop smoking. I know it is not easy to get rid and to stop smoking as they try once, but I believe all their efforts are worthwhile to have a better life and better future. That's all from me. Thank you. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye. Assalamualaikum.